Hi, good afternoon everybody, and welcome to FAQ Friday. So today I'm going to talk about emails and email marketing and how important it is as an avenue for you and how massive a return you can expect on email marketing if you do it right. But like everything in marketing, it's a test, and so sometimes we get a little bit demoralized because we can start working on stuff and we can be working on content that we're sending out to our list, and when we don't hear anything back and we don't gain any traction with it, then it can discourage us from continuing to do it. And that breaks that cycle of consistency, and things can then start to plummet from there. So getting into good habits and understanding that everything is a test, everything in marketing is a test, and that the more you do it, the more you're going to learn about engagement and what your clients and people, your subscribers are actually wanting, and it's going to become easier for you and you're going to start getting better results. So I put together some notes. So if I keep looking down, it's just that I'm looking at my notes below because I wanted to run through this for you in a systematic way so that you start to understand some of the important metrics, what they mean, and how you can improve them. So the first thing that we're going to have a look at are open rates. And open rates are basically exactly what it sounds like. So if you send to a list of 500 and 50 people open it, then you have an open rate of 10%. Now, averages across industries will change and alter. So I'm not going to say to you 10% is really good or 10% is really poor, because in different industries, those averages are different. But if you're using something like MailChimp, it'll actually tell you what the industry average is, and you can kind of gauge your success on your open rates according to their statistics. So it's a good way for you to be having a look at your reports from each mail out that you do and have a look at them across the industry average. So the thing that is disheartening is if you're seeing that people aren't opening your emails. And there's a really easy way that you can actually improve that open rate or improve the amount of people that are actually seeing the content that you've created, and that is by resending unopened emails. Now, so what you want to do is segment your list, and any email provider will do this for you. So if you're using MailChimp, I've actually put together a blog post that I'm just finalizing now, and I'll post the link to it later, but it's got screenshots of how you actually do this. So basically, you can go into MailChimp, you say you want to replicate the campaign that you've just sent out, and you've had a really low open rate on it, and you can send it to a segment that didn't open the previous campaign, and then you just change the subject title. That's all you do. You don't change anything else in there. You just change the subject title, because the reason it wasn't opened was because maybe the subject title wasn't strong enough. It didn't resonate with your list well enough. So you're going to try something different. Maybe ask them a question this time rather than telling them about what the content is. And so in that kind of way, you're going to start to understand what people are responding well to, as well as getting that same content out to a whole new group of people who didn't see it before without spending a lot of time rewriting it. So resending unopened emails is a really, really underused and very, very powerful tactic in email marketing. So that's my first piece of advice to you. The second piece of advice is to test delivery times. So the fact that people aren't opening your emails can be something as straightforward as the fact that you're sending it to them at a time when they aren't looking at their inbox, or it's arriving at a time when their inbox is just flooded with other emails and yours is getting skipped over because they're just simply not noticing it. So test the delivery times. And coming back to MailChimp, and I'm using MailChimp as an example because I know lots of people actually use MailChimp. MailChimp will in fact optimize your campaign for the best time to send it according to the statistics. My dog has just joined us. Hello, Shabby. So test your delivery times, and you can do this making sure you do it over a few mailings, and then whatever time is consistently delivering the best results, then that's the time that you can start actually using to consistently be sending out your emails. Segmenting your lists is also a really, really important thing to do, and a lot of people don't do this. And MailChimp reports a 13% increase in open rates if you're segmenting your list. That's massive. That's, some people don't even get a 13% open rate. So having the chance to increase your open rates by that amount is staggering. So let me give you an example of what I mean by segmenting your list. Everybody on your list is an individual, and they're all at their separate places in the journey. Now, if you are a business coach, for example, you may have people who are just starting out in business. They're literally right at the outset, and they're turning to you for mentorship throughout that process. If you start sending them emails about really advanced marketing techniques like retargeting or advanced Google Analytics, then it's going to go over their heads. It's too much for them. They're not there yet. They're not ready for that kind of information. But if you were to send them an email about how to choose a really effective company name or going through a trademarking process with their new logo, then that's going to be far more relevant to where they are in their business journey right now, and they're far more likely to open it. So really have a think. This is an advanced marketing technique, and the reason why a lot of people don't do this is because it's difficult to do. But you need to start to understand where people are and how you can send them information that's specifically relevant to them and where they are and the challenges that they're facing, and you will get a much better open rate. And it makes sense, doesn't it? We don't have time to open stuff that isn't specifically relevant and piques our interest then and there. So if it's something that's completely irrelevant to us, we're just going to hit the delete button. Spam filters are like your worst enemy when it comes to email marketing, because if your email lands in somebody's spam folder, then obviously it's never going to get read. So you want to make sure that you are that you're not using trigger words. And in the blog post that I'm putting together, I've actually put sending you to a resource that basically outlines all the trigger words. And things like multi-level marketing, free, these kind of words can be triggers and can automatically send you into a spam folder. So you want to be aware of them and beware of them. And consistency counts for so much in terms of expectations of what people can expect from you. And so if you are sending out at the same time, obviously you've tested the times and so you know what works for them, but if you're sending out at the same time every week or every month, people will know what to expect. And we're all creatures of habit. We kind of like that familiarity, and it means you're almost training people to expect something from you and to open it. And so there's a guy, I've forgotten his name's escaped me, but I heard a podcast with him, and he sends out religiously on Sunday mornings every single week. And he said in like the 35 years or something insane that he has been doing this, he has never missed sending an email out. So yeah, just really be clear on your consistency and make sure that you're sticking to a schedule, and that people are then more likely to understand what it is that they're going to expect from you, and like I say, you're kind of training them to click on things. So that's your open rates. Your click-through rates are something a little bit different, because every email that you send out is likely to have a call to action, and if it doesn't, then it should. So make sure that you have a purpose for all of the emails that you're sending out, and that you are giving people something to actually click on. So whether you're sending them to a blog post, or whether you're sending them to a video, or whether you're sending them to a landing page for a registration page for your webinar, whatever it is, there should be some purpose to the email that you send. So you're wanting to make sure that there's something clickable in the email. And your click-through rates are basically the amount of emails that you send and how many people are clicking on them. In fact, there's two separate ways of measuring click-through rates, but we won't go into the ins and outs of it too much. But basically, you want to increase your click-through rates because it means that people are not only reading your emails, but they're also interested enough to click through to whatever else it is that you're offering. So within your messages, I want to tell you how to improve those click-through rates. And the first thing is making sure that you're very specific in delivering one clear message. So you're not scattering your focus and telling them about a workshop that you're running next week. Oh, and by the way, you're running a webinar in the run-up to it. And you've got this fantastic case study that you've just written about your most recent client. People don't know where to click, so they just don't click on anything. And so you want to make sure that you're email that you're sending has a very clear purpose and that you're just wanting them to take one action. So make sure that you're making that really clear on what it is that you're wanting them to click. Also make sure that your emails are mobile responsive. So if you're using an old template, send it to yourself and have a look at it on your phone, because something like 65% of emails are now opened on phones. So you need it to be mobile responsive, otherwise people are having to do that pinch and click, pinch and drag to try and zoom in and read it, and they're most likely just not bother. Make sure that you're also piquing their interest with a sense of curiosity. So make sure that that subject line and whatever it is that you're asking them to click on almost triggers a kind of fear of missing out if they don't click on it. They want to know what's behind the link, so you want to make sure that whatever it is interesting enough for them to actually click on it, and then deliver on that promise. So if you don't do kind of clickbait stuff where you entice them to click on something and then they're disappointed with what's at the other end. Make sure it's relevant, but it needs to be exciting enough for them to click on. And having a really dull call to action on your emails is one of the most likely ways of making sure that people don't click through. Video has been seen to have a massive impact on click-through rates. So if you include a video, if you have any kind of video content, if you include a video, then you're likely to see an improvement on your click-through rates. So some people are experiencing up to a 30% improvement on their click-through rates when they're including video. And just as an aside, an easy way to start thinking about including video is maybe by literally reading through your blog posts. So, I mean, you don't want to be reading through it, but you can basically be doing a video about your blog post. So if people are preferring to consume video rather than read, then it gives them that option. And you can also be including that in the email. So that's a really, really good way of making sure that you're giving people that option of how they're wanting to consume your content. And when I said about adding one specific one specific call to action, you want to make sure that you're entering it multiple times. Hi Alexa, I can see you've just joined us, and I can see that there's a question from Kate. I'll come to that in a moment. So having one specific call to action, but including it several times, is going to increase the likelihood of people actually clicking on it. You've got to make it straightforward. You've got to make it as simple as possible. People are busy, and you have to understand that people are really busy. The other thing about that click-through or that call to action, don't always just include the same text. So it can be the same link. It's always taking them to the same place because it's the same thing you're wanting to take them to. But include different wording. So something, you know what I was saying about piquing their curiosity? So when you put one of them at the top, one of your links at the top, you might have something about, take a look at the video that I made about it here. And then further down, with exactly the same link, you're just using a different click text. So you're saying something like, this is the step-by-step approach that I outline in the video, and you can click to see it here. So you're choosing different things, and then you'll start to understand what people are responding to. So that's open rates and that's click-through rates that we've talked about. We've talked about improving both of them. The other thing that is really often overlooked in email marketing is the power of forwarded emails. If somebody forwards an email to a friend or a colleague, it has much more impact than if it comes from you directly, because it's almost like that power of endorsement. Someone thinks it's valuable enough in order to forward it to someone else's inbox. And so that can be really, really powerful. So if you don't have a call to action that you're wanting to send people to a blog post or a video or whatever, then you can actually just encourage them to forward it to a friend, or encourage them to send it to someone or share it on social media. So that's forwarding as well. And that's all I wanted to cover. So we have covered open rates, click-through rates, and forward rates. The main thing that I really want you to remember is that it's all a test. I know I said that at the beginning, but I really want to drive that home. That don't become demoralized, because if you're just starting out on your email marketing journey, it does work. It's still proven to have something like a 400% better ROI than things like social media marketing, search engine marketing. So it's definitely something to persevere with, and and start to make sure that you are understanding this process as a test, and that you shouldn't become dispirited about the fact that people aren't responding yet, because they will. Maintain that consistency and keep up building that kind of nurturing relationship you've got with your list, and they will start responding when they start recognizing that the emails that you're sending through are offering real value. And recognize the fact as well that they won't see every single email from you. I have people that I'm on a list for that I receive emails from on a regular basis. I have huge amounts of respect for them, and yet I know that I don't get to see every single one of their emails because my inbox is just too full. So don't be too hard on yourself when people aren't reading your emails. So that is it from me. Let me just have a quick look because Kate had a question. Kate, so if you have a worldwide email list, then would it be worth sending at different times according to different countries? Absolutely. And something like MailChimp will do that for you. It has like a geolocation function where it can send it out to different time zones at different times. So you could hit send on a campaign, and the ones that you're sending to the UK could go out now because now everyone is awake, it's kind of lunchtime, people might be reading their emails, and the ones that are going to America won't be sent out for another 4 or 5 hours because that's when they're getting up and you want it to land in their inbox first thing in the morning. So it's definitely worth segmenting by location if you can. Obviously that means that you have to have that information to start with. A lot of the email service providers will gather that information when people opt in, but if you've imported a list, then it doesn't necessarily have that opportunity to, unless you specifically have a country column on your list. So something to keep in mind, especially when you're starting to gather leads. Let me just have a look and see what else we've got in here. I think that was the only question. But Kate says, excellent content as usual. Thank you so much for your time. Alexa says she hadn't thought of that. I think that was the forwarding thing. Is there a good time or is it a test? So it's always a test, Alexa, because for different audiences, different times are going to work better. So if you think about it, if you are marketing to mums with young school children, sending out an email at 3:30 in the afternoon is a terrible time because they're on the school run. So whereas if you're sending out to corporates, you might find that it's a good time to send out because that might be the time where they're really kind of in their afternoon slump and they're just kind of distracted from their work process, and so 3:30 might actually work really well for them because they're looking for a distraction in their inbox. So you just need to test it, and really there's no hard and fast rules. So if you're reading kind of wisdom about email marketing and people say deliver at 10:30 on a Tuesday because it's going to guarantee you the best results, I would say try it, but don't rely on that for your audience because every audience is different, and so your guys might respond better at 10 o'clock at night. So so that's it from me. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and for watching. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you next week on Monday back in the group. Bye for now.